Now tell me, what is a sacrifice to the Shinto religion?
So with the Shinto religion, for their sacrifice, they make these good big meals. They get it blessed, prayed over, whatever, and they present it to their kami, which is their god, in exchange for peace, love, protection from evil spirits, evil things, finance problems, relationship problems, anything that you can think of in that nature. And they exchange that with him, and they pray to him, they bow down, just for basically like a cleansing of the heart and life and mind and soul. And after everything is finished, they have these big festivals and they celebrate, and it's just a whole big parade.
The people also want to know, what is the origin behind the Shinto religion?
In the creation story behind the Shinto and their beliefs or everything, um, was started with this girl named Isnam, and she had this husband. They lived on this land. They got married. They tried to have kids. Sometimes it didn't work. It wasn't successful. And long story short, later on she ended up passing away. And her husband buried her behind this rock. And later on in life, he started to get lonely. He started to miss his wife. So he had an idea to go visit her one day. And when he went to go visit her, her body was actually decaying and rotting. And he got scared. And when he ran from her, she became angry and cursed him and wished death on thousands of people a day because she was angry of how her husband reacted to her. So then after that, he went and he asked for prayer. And
What kind of sacrifice is done in Confucianism? How often are they done? And also, what is Confucianism and the beliefs of it?
Okay, so in the Confucian tradition, there are three levels of the sacrificial ritual: the great sacrifice, which is offered by the emperor; the middle sacrifice, which is offered by the court officials; and the minor sacrifice, which is offered by the local officials. And how often are the sacrifices done? They're done about twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. Confucianism as a belief, like it worships the ancestors and centered around human virtues, for living a peaceful life. The top three beliefs that they believe in is benevolence toward others, a general sense of doing what is right, and loyalty and diligence in serving one's superiors.
Where did sacrifice originate in Buddhism? Who created Buddhism? What are the benefits of sacrifice in Buddhism? How did they practice sacrifice? How was Buddhism sacrifice similar to other religions' sacrifice?
It originated in India. Yet cultic sacrifice has not developed in Buddhism. Another religion arose in India. Ritual sacrifice was judged to be ineffective and in some of its forms to involve cruelty and to run counter to the law of azama or non-injury. However, in Jagada's stories of the Buddha's previous births, accounts of his self-sacrifice. The founder of Buddhism, Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, who later became to be known as, and I quote, the Buddha, lived during the 5th century BC. Buddhism was founded in the late 16th century BCE. Buddhism arose in the eastern part of ancient India, in and around the ancient kingdom of Magadha, now in Bihar, India, and is based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama. This religion is important in most countries in Asia. Many people, including myself, may think we understand the meaning of, or the true meaning of self-sacrifice. When exploring the specific function of sacrifice within Buddhism, it will be necessary to understand some of the fundamental beliefs that lay down the groundwork for the religion as a whole. The Buddha was an actual historical figure who lived around 350 BCE in northern India. After his own spiritual awakening, he taught the 4 basic lessons about the nature of life and the 4th truth state. As with many religions, Buddhism offers its practitioners the opportunity for different levels of involvement on the spiritual path towards enlightenment. This spectrum of involvement ranges from who practice the minimum sacrifices primarily to achieve personal spiritual gain to who sacrifices his or her with the hope of benefiting all of humanity. As the kinds of practice and sacrifice are explained for different levels of involvement in the religion, it will become clear that relative commitment to help others correlates to the stage of practice and sacrifice. The first veneration of the Buddha or Buddhas or saints, which involve showing respect, meditating the qualities of the Buddha, or giving gifts. Such gifts are often given to the relics of the Buddha, to the image made to represent him, and other traces of his presence, such as where places of his footsteps can supposedly be seen. The second practice is the exchange that takes place between monks and lappersmen. Like the Buddha himself, the monks embody or represent the high levels of spiritual achievement. The laity improved their soteriological condition by giving the monks material gifts that function as sacrificial offerings. Although the exchange is structured differently in each Buddhist tradition, it has remained until recently a component of virtually all forms of Buddhist community life. Buddhism emphasizes the notion of ethical sacrifice, acts of self-discipline, and their instances of devotional offerings, such as burnt incense to the Buddha. Religions of China, like other aspects of religion, has existed a number of different levels. As in Judaism, the dynamic of sacrifice is interiorized and spiritualized in Buddhism, which goes all the way in emptying sacrifice of physical substance. Thus, perfection of giving, when grounded into the perfection of wisdom, is marked as the disappearance of the giver and receiver.